Okay, so obviously you have a lot of history in horror in the genre, working in special effects. So why did you want to move to directing? What was kind of the spark of that with the demon disorder?
I've always wanted to because I see them very, very similar. I think with special effects, you still storyboard, you still try and create the
Yeah.
emotional leverage with everything you're doing. And I'm just used to the mechanics of making a movie, and to me, it was very, very organic and easy to do. And the next step is to control the story elements and have a bit more context in which the stuff is shot and represented.
Mm.
So I really wanted to. I mean, I've had so many ideas for years, and I've written lots of screenplays that have been optioned,
Oh, cool. Oh,
and
exciting. Okay.
they just haven't happened for whatever reason. So, and
Yeah.
that one, I thought, look, if I don't do it now, it's never going to happen. So, that script that I had, it was a combination of two scripts that I'd had for many years that nothing happened with. So I just kind of spliced them together, and
Oh.
yeah. So it was a very natural thing for me to do because it's the same thing with a lot of the people who work here. They're all filmmakers, but they specialize in special effects, but they're all storytellers. So
Okay.
I didn't see it as stepping up into anything. I just saw it as doing a bit more,
That's
you know?
awesome. So what was
Yeah.
something like was there something you like really learned? Was there something that was kind of almost a shock to you directing? I mean, I know you've been on sets for so long, you've kind of experienced a lot, but was there anything from the directing standpoint that was kind of gave you a deeper appreciation for the for directing?
Probably the main thing is directing actors who have two completely different methods of working. Um, because
Oh,
when you
okay.
get into a scene and you storyboard it and you try and figure out um you orchestrate all the pieces, you think that's going to be it, and then you get on set and you have one actor who needs to be very methodical and rehearse and stick to the page exactly, and then the other actor that he's working with must have chaos, must improvise. And so how do you direct a scene with those two in? And that's what I found difficult. But it also worked in the demon disorder in the sense that it just came across as this brotherly angst and banter, and that was real on set.
Oh, okay.
Um, but that was the hardest thing. Yeah.
So you wrote this with Toby Osborne. Who had this was initially your kind of kernel of your idea, was the demon disorder was your idea?
Yeah.
Cool. So like where I know you said you spliced kind of two scripts together, but I really love how you're looking at three brothers and their relationships and especially with a dead father. I was curious like kind of where the kernel of the idea came from and how it grew with you and with the other writer.
Well, I had there was so there was one script called The Oppression, which was those which had two brothers in it. And originally there was a mother and a daughter, and it was this kind of complicated family thing that didn't quite work. That was the version of the script. That's where I had Toby involved just to help me
Okay.
work on some of those ideas. But we didn't end up going that way in the end. I just went straight back and scrapped everything and went back to the original concept of the idea that I wrote because it just went through so many different hands. I just lost interest in it. And I thought, if I'm going to make it, I need to go back to the original concept of the idea. So that's what I did. And I just went back and just rewrote it from scratch and just kept the DNA and realized that what I really wanted to work was these three brothers. That was the paramount thing. Um, and I also wanted to change it because in every possession movie, it's always a young girl who's possessed. And I thought,
Yes.
no,
Oh my
like,
God.
yeah, it's like, guys can get possessed too, surely. And then I thought, well, if I did that, and then if we approach it differently, because in one of the scripts there was an exorcism scene, and I hated it because look, it's like there's only one Exorcist movie, and you can't really come close. The best
Yeah.
you can do is be compared with it. And so I got rid of all that, and it just didn't serve any purpose. But the concept behind that was, what if these guys just didn't believe in anything? Like if they weren't religious, how would they do it? So it was actually a bit more comedic, and
Yeah.
didn't need it. So I just took it all out.
Hell yeah. Well, I
Yeah,
love the brotherly banter like in this movie. I feel like like this is a horror movie, but I love the injections of comedy and the relationships you get between the brothers. I feel like that adds again like a little bit of like nice spice to it to kind of break up. You know, there's a lot of oozing, a lot of emotions happening in this movie. So those comedic beats are really well timed, I think, with this film.
that's great. I mean, and that was really important too, because I think that's what guys do, right? Like if they feel threatened, they make a joke out of it. And I was worried that the brotherly banter wouldn't come off as well as I wanted it to. Like I was watching it the other night, and I thought, gee, I just wish we did more with that. But people still seem to notice it, which is great.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay, I did notice that the Spirig brothers are executive producers on this, and one of them also did your music. You worked with them on Daybreakers, correct?
I've worked on all their movies. Yeah, we went to film school together
Oh,
back
that's
in
so cool.
back in the 90s. Yeah.
Amazing.
That's how we met. So I was doing just doing special effects sequences of like melting heads and all that kind of stuff. And they were making these short films, which were great. Like they had really good special effects in them. And I met them at film school, and then we started making the Undead trilogy, which was Attack the Undead, Rampage of the Undead, and
Oh,
Massacre of the Undead. And then those shorts ended up becoming the Undead movie another 8 years down the track.
that's so
And
cool.
so yeah, we've worked together on everything except for Saw. I think it was Jigsaw that they did. That was in
Oh
Canada,
yeah,
so we
yeah,
did
yeah.
that. But
That I
I did all the other ones.
That's so I had to bring it up because Daybreakers, it was my personality for a while. I very much imprinted upon that movie. So to see that you did a lot of the creature design and effects, and that's really cool. It was just really cool for me personally as a horror fan to see that you worked on a movie that had a big impact on me as a horror fan when I was a little bit younger.
That's
Um,
great. Yeah,
yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah,
fantastic.
yeah.
I've still got
That's
in
so
the
cool.
foyer, I've got that burnt girl from the film's opening, you know, who sits
Yeah.
naked and the sun comes up. She's all like cracked and turning to ash. But yeah, no, Daybreakers was a big one, and people still talk about it all the time. And I'm really surprised that they haven't done a follow-up or a sequel or this. I know the Spirigs have tried. They've pitched sequels, they've pitched comics, they've pitched everything, and for some reason it just hasn't happened.
That's so
I don't
interesting.
understand it.
I love
Yeah.
that. Well, you've done so much incredible creature work in your career, and this one is no exception. And I know that your studio is the one that did all of the creature work. How involved were you with designing and implementing? Like, were you just as involved? Did you try to stay out of it? How was that balancing as the director?
No, I think my crew probably wished I stayed out of it more, but I no, I was very present in all of it. But
Yeah.
I would still do the actual like lead the design and how things were going to be
Okay.
made, and but the hands-on stuff I left to them, because I'd just be too distracted. But yeah, I'd be calling up saying, I've got this new idea. We're going to show this birth sequence where he gives birth to his father. That was all later. That wasn't in the script, by the way.
No,
And
but I was gonna say I love that. I love watching a man give birth. I mean, come on, what can?
yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. And you know what? And I hadn't heard of Men, the movie. Um,
Oh, you
and
have. Oh.
yeah, so I wanted to it's like we've got to show, we're doing something where it's the guy being possessed, and it's like we've got to show the guy giving birth to his father, right? Not just giving birth to a demon, he has to give birth to his father. And so we just thought, yeah, we'll do it in the armpit. We're trying to talk of different areas about where it could be. And but I just thought the armpit was the weirdest.
It
And
is. Oh,
yeah, because I just love the idea of an arm coming out underneath his arm and all that kind of stuff. And so I'd call my crew and say, okay, we need a baby. We need it in like 2 days where it splats on the ground and crawls along the floor and it's crying. And they're like, you can't do that. This is what you hate about other directors. You can't do it. We need more time. It's like, no, 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 no. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. And they were. They made it, and it was amazing.
I was gonna say that's an incredible sequence. And the sound design on top of it with the crying. I loved how you worked with your sound designer to that because it's just disgusting in a beautiful
Well,
way.
oh yeah, no, we tried all these different sounds, and the sound designer was Michael Thomas. He pretty much did that whole film by himself,
Holy
and
cow.
it was the stuff he did was so amazing, and he was doing things like buying chicken carcasses and twisting them and snapping them, and he created this sound database that he called Miscoffle, which is miscellaneous offal, and we were doing all that and adding creature sounds, and a lot of the gurgling is John Noble. I just put a microphone to him and got him to gurgle the water and to spit and cough and all that kind of stuff. And we put all that in, and it was like it was gross, but I said it's not disturbing. And I said, I think we need to put in a baby cry. And so he put in a baby cry, and then we all went, oh, that's fantastic. Yeah.
That's okay, that's incredible. And you mentioned John Noble. What an incredible get for the patriarch of this film. What was that experience like with him? He's just an incredible actor.
Oh, he is. He's amazing. We that was completely unplanned. I was just going to get a local actor, and because I thought, yeah, we didn't really have, we had no money
Yeah.
making it, right? And
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so and then I thought, but the thing is, it's got to be someone who, in their scenes, is strong enough so that when they're not in it, you still kind of feel them.
Yes.
And it needs to transfer into the creature at the end, that kind of personality. So Dirk, who is a friend of mine who plays Jake, his
Mhm.
manager also manages John Noble. And it was him who suggested, what about John? I said, not that John. He said, yeah, yeah, yeah. So I said, well, let's reach out and see. There's no way we could afford what his rate was, but we pitched something to Tracy, his manager, and then there was a bit of toing and froing, and he ultimately said yes. And he flew in from LA. Well, he said, look, if you can do it, like I'm flying from LA to New Zealand, I'm stopping off in Australia, and if I've got a couple of days there, if you can do it in there. And I said, that's okay, we'll wait. So we shot the film in 13 days, and then we waited till he came in and shot 2 days with him. And by then we were able to do a rough cut to see exactly what we wanted from him.
Oh, that's so
And
cool. Oh, that's so nice.
yeah, and he loved it. He absolutely loved it because he just come from all this like Hollywood sets, and he just showed
Yeah.
up and just this crazy independent crew out on a farm with no regard for safety. And he
There's just
just
like
loved it.
slime, there's like babies coming out of armpits. I mean, like
The
what's not to
snake.
love about
Yeah,
yeah, oh yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Cows,
Yeah.
chickens.
But
Wow.
yeah, no, he was amazing. He loved it, and he totally got it. Um, and I just think that I'm so glad we did because it really elevated everything.
He
Yeah, it
has such
really
a
did.
presence. His voice, I feel like, is such a presence. You can kind of, even when you have the whispers, like you can really feel it in your chest in a way almost. So, yeah, it definitely has that effectiveness.
Oh, it's got the best. Yeah, he's got the best sound.
Agree.
Absolutely.
So, do you want to direct another film? Do you now have the directing bug? I mean, obviously you have the filmmaking bug, but do you want to direct again?
Yeah, no, we're planning what we did with Possession last time, we're doing with vampires next time. So it's a very, very different. I don't know if I'm going to get away with it, to be honest, but I'm going to give it a go. But yeah, it's a vampire movie of sorts.
Oh, very exciting. Obviously, I love the vampires you've created in the past, so I'm very excited.